Shalom. I just got back from Israel for my usual pilgrimage in the holiday of Shavuot. And as we know that in Shavuot we need to make a lot fruit, the scroll of fruit, and it talks about Naomi and Melech, and then at the end it says Ve'obed olidet Yishai, that Obed begot Yishai, Jesse, and Yishai olidet David. So the David is the last word of that scroll. Also, it is a known tradition that David Melech was born on Shavuot, and he died also on Shavuot. And also, when we finish the holidays, we said Birkat Levana, and in Birkat Levana it says David Melech Yisrael Hai Vekayam, King David is alive. So I would like to take this opportunity to talk about David Melech. He was born around 930 years prior to the Common Era. I have rule of thumb that when we celebrate the 2000, when we celebrated the Y2K, I guess many of us remember that. In Israel, they were celebrating the Y3K for the establishment of Jerusalem, and we do know that King David is the one who established Jerusalem. It is mentioned in the book of Samuel that he bought the plot for Harabait, for the Temple Mount, from Aravna Haybusid, Aravna the Jebusite, and then he established he started to put the foundation for Beit HaMikdash, and prior to that he moved his capital from Hebron to Jerusalem. He was the last son of Yishai. In fact, he was barely mentioned, and we'll get to that later on. He was anointed as the king by Shmuel when he was 27 years old, and it is mentioned also in the book of Shmuel Aleph, around chapter 16, that Hashem, after Shaul did not kill Amalek, he told him that I'm disgusted with him. I wanted to find another king, and he told him, go to Beit Yishai, to the house of Yishai, and I will tell you whom to anoint. And he went, and then he had all his children. The first one is Eliab, and Ammishaddai, and Shammah. Shmuel, when he saw Eliab, he was a tall guy. He's very handsome, and he looks distinguished. Hashem told him, no, this is not whom I knew. That Adam yudea la'inayim ve'Hashem yudea leleb. That you look at what you see, but I know the heart is not the proper one. And they say that he's not chosen because although he was almost perfect, he had the character of getting angry quickly. We see that when David came, when there was a campaign against the Philistines, Eliab, he was angry at him. He told him, I know you're Roa lebabecha, you came here, you left the cows with a little child, and you came to do to look at the war. يعني روى لبابخا in Arabic they say يعني عطلك, that and he was angry at him, and because he was angry, Hashem did not feel that he is a proper choice to be the king of the Israelites. And Derech Agav, by the way, probably he was angry at Shaul for the same reason, because when we remember when he had a meal on Rosh Chodesh, and he was planning to kill David, and when he didn't show up, Jonathan, the son of Shaul, he told him that he asked me for a vacation, that he wants to go to Bethlehem where his parents are, and I gave him the permission. He almost killed Jonathan, his Yehonatan, his own son, and he came up with language that it is it is the worst language in the entire Tanakh. Leboshet tarvatecha u'levarvat emmecha. We never saw such a thing in the entire Tanakh. So this is also, I believe, one of the reasons that Hashem was disgusted with Shaul, and he felt that it is it's needed to find an alternative. In any way, then he told him, do you have? He lined up his 7 children. He told him, is that it? Do you have somebody else? He said, that's it. And then he told him, the truth is, we have another nar, a kid who is, he's waiting, he's attending to the cows. He told him, bring him. And he brought him. He saw him at Moni. He saw him, he was gingy, like red-haired. And really, Ishmael did not want to anoint him, because he remembered Isaac, who is also at Moni, and he wasn't good. Hashem told him, Kum meshahehu kizehu, that go and get up and anoint him, because this is the one that I chose him. And in that, indeed, he anointed him. And then only a few weeks later, we heard the story of David and Goliath, and that we mentioned that before, and how he killed him with a sling. So although he was anointed, he was chased by Shaul, and he did not become king except another 2.5-3 years. And he started his kingdom in Hebron, which is like half an hour drive from current Jerusalem. After he stayed there for 7 years, and after that he moved to Jerusalem, his capital, where he established Ir David. Anyone who is visiting Jerusalem now, it is one of the biggest attraction now in that city. David, King David is such an important figure in the Tanakh. In the book of Concordance, there is a book that it used to be used much more than now, because now we have computers. It says that David was mentioned around 1,300 times in the Tanakh. And Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses comes distant second at around 800, and then after that Abraham, the Avot, and Isaac and Yaakov. So we can see here how central of a figure he is. And he did many things, I believe. To start to talk about King David, we can take a character, his characters that they are mentioned by Doeg Adomi, who is archenemy of King David, how he described him. There is a story that Shaul became depressed, and at that time they didn't have Prozac, so they asked him what to do. They suggested to him that to find a person who knows how to play harp, And somebody mentioned that you know what, Yishai has a son. His name is David, and he can do this job for you, and you will feel happy. And this is how they describe him. First, Yodea Nagin, which means that he knows how to sing and do music. Gebor Hayil, Ish Milhama, Navon Davar, Ish Toar, Ve'Hashem Ammo. So Yodea Nagin is, we will elaborate on each one. Yodea Nagin means that he knows how to sing, and we do know that he wrote the book of Psalms. The majority of it is written by him, although few chapters here and there written. 11 of them were by Moshe. Asaph wrote a couple. Shimshon Korah they wrote model. In any event, his cause for fame of David Melech is not his wars. It is the Psalms that he left for us. So it is justly that he was mentioned before. For those who like music, they tell you, any good Hazan, he will tell you to know the singing is probably the most important character. Gebor Hayil, we know, not only for him to convince King Shaul that he is able to overcome Goliath. He told him that one time he had a fight with a lion and with a bear, and he killed them, and so Shaul kind of had no choice. He told him that he can try to kill Goliath, and he did. And so we can see from here that he was a very courageous person. Ish Milhama, which means a warrior, at his time he had the fight with the Philistines, and he had all the territory on the east side of the Jordan River all the way. It was he established. He had the beginning of very large kingdom for King Shlomo. Navon Davar is very smart. He's a politician. He knew how to run wars and how to deal with people. This is kind of obvious. Ish Toar, he was handsome, and Vadonai Amo, that because of that Hashem was with him, and we do know that his descendant will remain kings, and we do know that the Mashiach is going to be from his children. Now, when we did say before, in addition to all these, he was a humble person, as we say that he learned only two things from Ahitophel: that he should not touch the Aaron to support him, just leave it alone, and that to write the Shema Meforash for the Tehom, for the deep water to stop, and he called him his boss. He used also to, when he was listening to Torah classes, he used to sit on the floor, not on pillows. When he had farah for the Torah, he was very enthusiastic and very sincere, that he acted like a commoner. And in fact, Michal, his wife, was very upset with him, and she rebuked him about that unjustly. So we can see his great character. Now, what's his relationship with Rosh Chodesh? At one time, there was a decree by the Greeks that the Jews cannot celebrate Rosh Chodesh, because they knew that many holidays are tied to the declaring the Rosh Chodesh. So they say you can't do that. So they used to do that in secret, and the password was David Melech Yisrael Hai Vekayam. David Melech Hai Vekayam, the gematria is Rosh Chodesh. If you count them, it will be 819, both of them, and then that was the secret. And also it is interesting that we say in the Birkat Levana that Keshem she'anachnu merakdim lenirdiq enana yuchlim legabich, that we jump into you, we can't touch you. What does it mean? This is very strange. That was also when they can't talk, they can't say David bin Vekayam, they used to jump up and down to tell the people who are watching the moon that it is safe and there are no Greeks, and they say they used to curse them so they don't see us. So here we can see the relationship between saying that there was a Vekayam in the Birkat al-Lebanon. Also in Rosh Chodesh, we do know that it is in Tefilat Musaf we say something also unique to that. That we will hear the